الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. لقاؤنا اليوم مع شخصية مثيرة للغاية، صحفية بريطانية مشهورة، حازت على العديد من الجوائز العالمية، عملت في كثير من الصحف العالمية، الأوبزيرفر، اندبندنت، BBC وساندي اكسبريس. كذلك عملت كمراسلة لأكبر الشبكات العالمية مثل CNN والITN وBBC TV. لكن كانت المحطة الأهم عندما كانت رئيسة التحقيقات في ساندي اكسبريس. في هذه الفترة كان عليها أن تغطي الحرب الأفغانية. الكلام ده كان سنة 2001، 28 سبتمبر 2001. بعد حوالي يمكن 10 أيام في 8 أكتوبر تم أسرها على أيدي قوات طالبان في أفغانستان، وهي طبعا كانت صحفية بريطانية وكانت ليس معها أي جواز سفر. تم القبض عليها وتم الاشتباه فيها كجاسوسة لقوات الحلفاء أو القوات المعادية في هذا الوقت، وكان التوقع الأكبر أنه يكون الإعدام أو التعذيب حتى للحصول على معلومات. ولكن بعد 11 يوم بالضبط تم الإفراج عن إيفون ريدلي، وبعدها بحوالي 30 شهر أشهرت إسلامها واعتنقت الإسلام، وأصبحت من أكثر الشخصيات المدافعة عن الإسلام في العالم الغربي. إيفون ريدلي شخصية في منتهى الإثارة، في حياتها العديد من التجارب أرجو أن نستفيد منها. نلتقي معكم ومع إيفون ريدلي ولكن بعد الفاصل. Mrs. Yvonne, thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure.
It was really so interesting when I made my homework and when I made a simple search on the net about Yvonne Redley. I was really astonished about what I have read about your experience and your story. So shall we start from the beginning? And when I mean beginning, I mean the beginning of this story of Afghanistan and the Taliban issue. So tell me when it started and how it started.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. My story began just after 9/11, an event which shocked the world, a criminal act. And I was sent by my newspaper to Pakistan. More than 3,000 of the world's media had gathered there, and we were waiting for the start of the war between America and Afghanistan. And I decided that I wanted to get into the country. The Taliban spiritual leader, Mullah Muhammad Omar, had expelled all of the Western journalists, and I tried to get in through legitimate means by applying for a visa, but every time I went to the embassy it was refused, and after the third refusal I thought I will sneak in under cover of the all-enveloping blue burqa or chador, and that is exactly what I did. And on September the 26th, I went in with 2 guides, one from the NWFP province in Pakistan and another one who was born in Afghanistan. And we journeyed into Afghanistan through the Khyber Pass, down into the Dust Bowl, which is Torkham, and across into Afghanistan. And wearing that burqa was really like wearing an invisible cloak. Nobody took any notice of me at all. It was as though I wasn't there. Nobody looked at me, nobody spoke to me. It was the perfect device for an investigative journalist.
You didn't feel any fear that going to such a dangerous area, and of course you have some background about Taliban and about... You didn't feel any fear at that time?
I was scared, but the desire to get an exclusive story was a big motivational factor in going to Afghanistan. And I didn't intend on getting captured. You know, it was, I weighed up the risks and I thought that I could do it. And indeed, I was in Afghanistan for 2 days, undetected, taking pictures as and when I could with a camera, the only piece of equipment I took in. And
how they detected you, how they captured you?
oh, well, it was on the way back.
After you finished all your coverage?
I had finished the assignment. I was heading back. I was about 10 minutes away from the Pakistan border, coming into the tribal areas, and I was on a donkey, and it just went crazy. It just went off. Suddenly, and I fell off the donkey. Oh. Which attracted attention. That triggered a series of other events, and I was arrested by the Taliban. The moment that I was taken into their custody, I thought, that's it. That is the finish of Yvonne Ridley. Because I had bought into all of the propaganda that George Bush and Tony Blair had given us, that this was the most evil, brutal regime in the world. They hated women. I really, really didn't think that I would see the sunset that evening.
Oh, and before you being captured, you spent a couple of days covering. So your coverage, your press coverage as a journalist, confirmed these allegations, or when you covered, what would you going to write when you come back, if you wasn't captured?
Well, the story that I was going to write was from the Afghan people's perspective, and they were saying, look, we're very sorry about 9/11, but what has it got to do with us? And indeed, you know, they had a point. Why would the richest country in the world want to bomb the poorest country in the world? There were no Afghans on those flights, on the 4 hijacked airliners. There were no Afghans involved. There was no Taliban involvement. In fact, as we know, 16 of the hijackers came from Saudi, and the rest came from surrounding Arab lands. So if anywhere should have been attacked or bombed using that logic, it should have been Saudi. It just didn't make sense, and this is what the Afghan people were saying. And they also, one woman made a very valid point, and she said, what are they going to bomb? There's nothing left to bomb. Which again, you know, how can you smash something that's already broken?
So you went to your capture, your prison. So what happened over there?
Well, I really convinced myself that they were going to kill me. And so I decided that on the grounds that you don't kiss the hand that slaps you, whatever I do, I will be killed anyway. So I would become the prisoner from hell. And if that accelerated my death, then fine. What terrified me was the thought that I would be tortured. So I decided to become the prisoner from hell. I spat at them, I swore at them, I threw things at them, I went on hunger strike, I refused to cooperate with them.
At that time, you had any chance or had any hope that the outside media are going to make a pressure on Taliban to release you or something?
No, and the thing is, as any prisoner will tell you, in those circumstances, you feel entirely alone and isolated, and you think that nobody will know that you've even gone missing. I knew that my work would be concerned that I hadn't called in at the appointed time, but I didn't think that they would raise an alarm for 2 or 3 days. And I just felt that the situation was hopeless.
Have you met any prisoners over there?
No, not initially. The first 6 days I was in Jalalabad, and on the 6th day I was visited by a religious cleric.
In these 6 days, did anyone hurt you, tortured you?
No, despite my very bad behavior, they were perfect gentlemen. They were very courteous and very respectful. And I thought, what's wrong with these people? I know that they're brutal and evil,
Yeah.
and they're pretending to be nice to me, but I'm not going to be fooled by this. And so I continued being abusive. And the more abusive and